Although I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, this podcast is not therapy and should not be used as therapeutic intervention. Many of the products and practices mentioned are for educational and informational purposes only. Should you need support, please seek appropriate, qualified, and licensed professionals. Hey y'all, welcome to Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist, the podcast where we navigate the murky waters between what society expects and what it means to truly live, embrace the messiness, the beautiful chaos of life, and celebrating the rebellion in the process. Whether you're a recent graduate, a seasoned therapist, or someone just curious, there's something here for everyone. But before we dive in, make sure you join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect to other like-minded souls. I'm your host, Shauna Lovin, a seasoned therapist and wellness educator with a very rebellious spirit. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's rebellion. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Between a Hot Mess and a Therapist. Today we're talking about work-life balance. I know this is a popular topic when it comes to things that either we as therapists help our clients deal with, but it's also something that we also struggle with. Again, we're human and we have the same issues as many of our clients. So this topic is very interesting because I decided one day to just do some digging, just because I felt like it was this idea that could never be achieved. And I know people will say like, yes, you can achieve work-life balance, but I call bullshit on that. Here's why. Because this was, to take a quick history lesson, this was a term that was developed in like the 1970s. This is when women were going into the workforce in droves compared to earlier times. And they were, looking to, start their careers and kind of get, move up the ladder, be seen. But this was a way that business owners wanted to help with productivity. And so they came up with this term, work-life balance, mostly for productivity. In hindsight, it seemed like a really good idea. Yes, it had its flaws that seemed to be revealed over time, but the theory of you're trying to help your workforce increase productivity. One of the reasons that, one of the flaws that comes up is because, and this goes back to even present day, is that we are sent to school. We are often taught, again, to be good workers, not to run your own business, and to just kind of fall in line. And so productivity becomes important for the big man upstairs in the big office up there. But let's look at this. How does this help us today? How does this really improve things? So again, this term was catchy. It was kind of like the catch-all phrase for how a company created policies, programs, procedures around the idea of work-life balance. However, again, there are a ton of problems with that. So let's start with the most easy thing, and why I call bullshit on it, is that balance is an unattainable goal. How, in theory, are you going to give balance? 50% of your work life, 50% of your personal life at the same time. How is that possible? You can't give 50% to either side, especially when you're trying to give 100% of your attention and time and things. Because in theory, if we were only giving 50%, then that means there are things on the other side of the house that we would neglect. We would fail to understand or would work for us. 50% also implies that we're compartmentalizing each area of our life. And who really does that? Who really compartmentalizes? Hello, mom life. Yeah, I don't think that's possible. So, who really works on one thing at a time? Most of the time, we are multitasking and we are not just working on things in our personal life, but we're working on things in our work life as well at the same time. And so, again, it's impossible to only give 50%. Think about the time where, especially if you're a mom like me, you got kids, they're at school, you're at home working, or you're in your office working, you're seeing clients, you're doing what you do. And did you get a call from the school and they tell you that your kid is sick and you have to come get them because y'all know there's that rule of the temperature thing. And so you have to come get them. Now, how am I keeping work-life balance when all of a sudden my personal life, which is my children, just interjected on what I was doing for work at that time? So now I bring my kid home, or I have to leave work, or whatever the case is. Now I'm unable to work or have less work because I'm attending to a sick child. So please explain to me, how is that 50%? It's not. And no matter how you look at it, it just doesn't work. Another problem that comes up is the societal changes and the advancement in technology, which gives us 24/7 access to anything and everything. This supports the idea that we are likely to give 50% of our time to other things. And again, when things change, we can't attend to that 50%. Society has also made work-life balance a problem for mostly women. So thinking back in the 1950s, the idea of a woman, their responsibilities, and the things that they were doing, yes, they were taking care of the house, the children, and everything, and they stayed home a lot, right? But again, as women entered the workforce in the 1970s, automatically with the term work-life balance, we had to figure out how to achieve what was going on at home, what was going on at work, and still be able to give 100% in all the areas all the time. And the responsibilities of women never changed. Again, they're not just working at home like your 1950s housewife, but they are also working women in like the 1970s. Explain that to me. So these ideas just reinforce that, yes, we want to maintain a successful career. We want to maintain our life out of, work. However, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. And so it's time to really reframe the thinking of how redistribute roles. It's okay to think outside of the box. Y'all know I'm big on being outside of the box. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a non-traditional setup at home. And so let's talk about maybe where should we be going in this? So really, we should be looking at the term of work-life blend. This is a concept that is widely known in other parts of the world, like Nordic countries, like Australia, and they're learning how to blend the two together. So that brings up that there is this book called Work Life. The book's called Balance is BS. And it's how to have a work-life blend. And I'll make sure that I link it in the show notes. But in theory, this book is about how we attend to both sides of our life together, not separately, but together. And then so when you think about how these Nordic countries, this is their life, this is what they do, no wonder like Finland and other countries, they're like the happiest places on earth. And then, I think about even in their winter months, because, when it's cold out, it's winter, it's stormy, rainy, snowy, that people tend to get a little bit more depressed. However, if these places where they get tons of snow, tons of winter weather, tons of low light, they still do very well. So I say, let's get our winter gear and let's head up north, y'all, because they're happy up there. So, but what I found is that here in the United States, there are very few people that are actually even talking about how to strive for work life blending because everyone is still stuck on that balance bullshit. I don't know why. But what does it really mean to blend? Blending refers to having work and life supporting each other, working together, not separate parts of your life. They're not separate compartments. Everything is working together. It's about making the most of your time and figuring out ways to incorporate work and life. For example, if you have a trip that's planned for work, then who's to say that your family can't go on that trip to spend some time together and vacation and do things together around the work tasks? Who says that that can't happen? I know for some people, blending may be harder for others, but it's about how you find the ways to incorporate all areas of your life to work together. So how do we achieve that? Well, the main ways that I have found have worked is reframing my mindset, reframing how I think about work-life blending. And it's understanding that blending is possible. It's about creating the time and space for self-awareness. It's about improving, the mindset by incorporating small changes and remembering that the smallest changes can have the biggest impacts. It's about changing your physical environment to support the mindset shifts that you're trying to make. So this is the first part of it. The second thing that has been really helpful in all of this is just being clear on my values, being clear on what ideas that help operate in both work and life. Just what is it? Once you understand your values, align your actions to move towards and live according to your values. Be clear on leading or what leads to clear purpose and what leads to the priorities. Again, values and priorities. Don't compromise high priorities with low priorities. So there's that hierarchy of priorities. What's important? You make sure those are non-negotiables. And in each core area of your life, you want to create a bucket list, like goals that align with what is the bigger value, the bigger vision, the bigger priorities that provides a satisfaction where you are appropriately blending to your satisfaction, work, and life. The last thing that has been super helpful is that I have learned to repurpose self-care skills and practices as a tool to achieve work-life blend. It's basically this place of doing versus being. And it's learning to figure out when you're just doing things just to do it versus when you're actually being and sitting with it to be. It's learning to acquire other skills and traits such as being flexible, delegating, or having high quality over quantity. It's also about having a multiple set of friends. So you might have a set of friends you hang out with for work. It's having another set of friends that are more for life. And you could have both. But yes, it's about having different people in your life. Just because you tend to talk to some people about certain things versus other people. And so having different sets of friends actually can help with this work-life blend thing. It's also learning to simplify your life. For me, one of the biggest things is having a capsule wardrobe just because I hate laundry. So there you go. It's also about knowing your energy level. When you know your energy level, this can help direct you on like where do you need to put a little bit more attention or a little less attention, or you need to regroup a little bit. This is where my human design has come in greatly. So one of the ways that I have really, I think, achieved this over life is following kind of like the guidelines. Again, remember, Our Nordic countries are really good at this. And so there's a book called The Danish Art of Cozy. And so basically it's about hygge, Hyggge, hygge. And hygge is basically a Danish Norwegian term that describes the mood of coziness, comfort, with feelings of wellness and contentment. Basically, this is their lifestyle. This is how they are the happiest place on earth. They also naturally, this practice or this lifestyle practice naturally encourages mindfulness, being present. It encourages safety and self-care and social support, all the things that I was just talking about. And so in trying to achieve this hygge lifestyle of my own, I figured out, and it's detailed in the book about what are some things that you can do. So basically it's your atmosphere, it's your presence of being kind of here and now, it's your pleasure of like things that you like coffee and warm drinks and chocolates and things like that. It's the equity of the space, the equality of the space. It's like we over me. It's about the safe place. Another thing here is gratitude. It's like taking it in and being grateful for the small things you have, being grateful for the things that have happened. It's about harmony. It's not about a competition, but it's about how things are blending and working together. It's about what is the slow pace. It's like, it's a marathon, not a race. It's about comfort. Think about like getting cozy with your clothes and texture and nature and things like that. It's also about not having any drama. Like I am for no drama. It's about togetherness, building relationships, positive narratives that we have. It's about creating your tribe, your shelter, your community. And when you put all these things together and you're consistently working on that, you have a hygge lifestyle. So if these countries are super happy and just by creating this lifestyle, and it's like, if you can't live in a place like that, then I would say, can you bring that to you? And so how we say our house is like our home is like, our safe haven. This would be a great place to start. So I just want to say the one biggest thing that I've learned in all of this is that work-life blend is truly a mindset change. Once you change your mindset and you make that shift, you find your community that will support these changes. This is going to help you stay accountable. This is going to help you stay aligned or keep aligned with your values. The best version of yourself comes through having a great work-life blend. So let's get blending, y'all. Thanks for joining today's rebellion with me. Remember, it's okay to be a hot mess sometimes. It's all part of the journey. Until next time, stay rebellious, stay authentic, and keep embracing the beautiful messiness of life. Don't forget to join the Hot Mess Rebellion community where you can connect with other like-minded souls. And anything mentioned in today's episode will be linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, you share with a friend, you leave a review, and you keep coming back for more. This podcast was brought to you by Healing Roots Wellness and Botanicals. For more information, please visit healingrootswab.com.